Do all humans have morals? Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Philosopher's Corner. Do all humans have morals? Now, I already did a video about morals and the fundamentals of what they are. But morality, morals in particular, they're such a fundamental, foundational aspect of philosophy and really at the core of our interaction with reality and with other people, and a lot to do with just the nature of inquiry regarding human behavior and ultimately decision making about very important topics in life, because morals end up being the actual decisions that we make in regards to our behavior. So it's a subject that is going to be open to a lot of discussion and inquiry and, examination, because since it's such a foundational aspect, the more progress we make, the more we can articulate an understanding and spend time thinking about it and sort of discovering how to see it for what it is. Almost like if we were a paleontologist and we were looking for dinosaur bones, we had a little brush, right? And you're looking for the dinosaur bones, trying to brush away the fine sediment to see the bones when you get to them. That's kind of what it is in philosophy. We're kind of like, paleontologists for truth, and we're trying to get down to these, core principles. Like, okay, what's really running the show? And an examination of morality is just at that brushing away that we found bones, right? Because it's one thing to give some perspective, as humans, for a long time in our development, the evolution of the species, we weren't thinking about, the finer points of our behavior really in relation to each other or in relation to the reality itself, like examining that as a sort of force. We were more concerned with primal aspects and physical aspects. And then just, as evolution went along, people naturally got introspective, and they figured out that decision making was affecting the reality to some degree, and they wanted to just further examine that. And which brings us into the realm of morality and morals. So morals is this determination about whether behavior is good or bad. And then today we're trying to figure out, is it, do all humans have morals? Or, are they subject to them? Or what is the nature of the relationship, I guess, is really what we're getting into here. And I believe that, or I've seen it to be that and just restricting this conversation to humans, like all humans do interact with each other and with the reality. When I say the reality, includes everything in it, whether it's like inanimate, animate, conscious, unconscious, like animals, trees, other people, whatever. Reality, everybody's interacting. There is like morals are present. They're constantly present in every interaction. It's part of this fundamental exchange of the energy that's occurring. So we're walking around and we essentially have like a moral, in the energy itself, there's this chemistry, this interaction of morals. And every human has that as part of their being. It's part of the interaction, like the interactive process between them and the reality, and them and themselves. There's this, something's built into the reality where doing a thing can result in more positive outcomes that are propagate sort of a harmony and sort of a nutritious energy into the environment. And then there's decisions which can do the opposite and lead to, less good outcomes. And then there's gradations. There's a spectrum of, like, everything from neutral to like a little good to a little bad, and then like it can fan out into like what we call evil, or fan out into what we call divine. So we have this spectrum, but it seems built into the field that almost every single thing we do has some sort of, there's a moral value in there somewhere, like in an engineering way, not in a ethereal way, like no, like a real one, almost like a, when an engine is mated to a transmission, like the engine produces its power, but it's useless unless it gets put to a transmission and sent out to some wheels. And it seems as though in this case the soul and the consciousness acting as an engine, and the body is a transmission, and then the morals are one of the wheels in the reality. And the good or badness of it determines how the traction in the reality seems to go. And every human I met is subject to it. Whether their state of awareness about it is irrelevant, their state of consciously interacting with it and being aware of it and conscious of it is irrelevant, in terms of it doesn't shield one. Like if they're doing things that are, it's beyond judgment, like there seems to be like a sort of law of physics to it, in terms of like the basic fundamentals of either if you're doing things that are good and in harmony, or bad or out of harmony, that certain energies are catalyzed by that. And then that fuels further realities. It propagates. And whether a person is aware of these values or not, they still have effects. Like ignorance of morals doesn't make you immune from them. They seem to be a law of physics, really, just like in a philosophical, energetic realm, in a way that we just haven't built the scientific instruments to measure them and submit them for peer review and like make everybody comfortable with them. But using common sense and looking through human discourse, it's clear that pretty much all cultures agree that morals, however you want to get into the values of them, that they exist and that everybody has them and that everybody's being sort of governed by them to one degree or another, whether they like it or not. It's just built into the human experience. Now, the morals themselves, when you go in as like a value system, you start to go, oh, I want to make, I have this, this morality about this, like, oh, in this situation, I'm thinking good or bad is this, right? And the good or bad is this. Well, the thing is with morality or morals, you can intellectualize them all you want. But when you start living life, the life interacting with you, the results you get will let you know. Right? When you get a full spectrum coming back to you, it's not acute. You don't just do, it's like, oh, I did this thing, and then like right away. Sometimes you do, but usually with morality, the cause and effect, which is, it's trackable. You can find it out. I mean, you get into like these more finer, sublimed energy levels of things for a lot of things, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's real obvious. I mean, that's why we have a whole criminal system based on, essentially morals, because determination of good and bad. You commit violence towards somebody or mischief towards somebody, then you're going to be brought before the court and sentenced accordingly, and that's a moral judgment. It's nothing else. So, but just living your life and doing things, the morals are like seeds, and the seeds sometimes take time to grow, which is why people say, hey, you're going to reap what you sow. Really, a lot of times talking about the moral actions that you're doing. And in that regard, no one's immune to it. Everybody, and nor should they be. I mean, it's great. Like when you become conscious of the fact that you can look into the moral value system that you have, and that almost all of your choices have some sort of moral aspect involved in them, and you learn how to resonate with the consequences. When you start to see the correlation between choices you make in that moment, knowing that the morality that's in there is true, and you engage in it, and you help it let it inform your decision, then the consequences, you'll be able to see the correlation between the cause and effect, like the choice and the consequences. And then we build enough of that data together of those decision makings in life, where you've seen enough decision and consequence, cause and effect, and you've done it from a point of awareness, of consciousness, of going, oh yeah, I knew that was a moral choice. I wasn't afraid to take that into my heart and my mind, and recognize that in this moment there was a moral choice in there. And I have found personally, and from a philosophical level, because I'm living a philosophical life, that times, and these are the times when they say, the choices you make when you're alone, you find out who you really are. And I've done both throughout life. I've had times where I've been alone and I've made the wrong choice. I've like stolen stuff, or I've like tried to get over on people, or I've treated people bad, or or even just alone, just decided to like make the wrong choice. Basically, I've done that in life. And then on the other hand, I've had a lot of times in life where I made the right choice when I'm alone, and I've done the good thing, and spread the positivity, or like whatever it was, whatever the good choice was. And as I've gotten older, and I got the data, well, I realized that like doing like whenever I was making the bad moral choices, typically it was for short-term personal gain or whatever, or not wanting to do the right thing in general, or whatever it was. Usually it's because of short-term personal gain, or make me feel good, or lack of discipline. But dude, it never works out. Like when I was like knew that I was alone, or even in groups or whatever, and something led me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do, like, I actually kind of know, I kind of feel and kind of know this is the wrong thing to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Dude, it never worked out, ever. It never works out. In fact, it only just like gunks up the life system, the life looks, and it's just like, oh, okay, got that bad vibe in there. Conversely, every time I've ever done the right thing or the good thing, when I vibed it and I intellectually knew, and I broke it down, and I didn't play any of these weird moral relativity games. Like there's context to morality. I talked about in the first video. Like you have the proper context for things, but when you have the proper context, and you're not trying to after the fact justify things through moral relativity, which is a sin basically. But when you're in the moment and you have the proper moral context, which is essential for clarity, I found that when I'm aware and I'm living and I know it's a moral choice and the context is right and the decision is brought to me and I make the right choice, everything resonates in that moment. Those are the good moments in life. Those are the moments where I grow the most. Those are the moments that unlock other good stuff. Those are the moments where then I look forward to reaping what I sowed. And when I get in a rhythm of that, of understanding that the morality is real, it's a permanent feature in the experience. It may even be the primary it might even be the primary reason that like I'm interacting in life at all. It might be the reason that I've been created, is simply just to be like, to teach myself how to like choose to do the right thing when I'm left unattended. Right? Novel concept. And then when I respect that everybody else is also has a permanent feature, is like of this morality, this moral interaction, whatever their level of awareness of it or not, just I know that it's true because I've examined it for myself, that I'm in it and I can't escape it. And that it's actually a great thing, and that it actually generates energy for my life. And I have enough data to look back and go, okay, using all the philosophical precepts, all the philosophical approaches, like using, talking about like the intentions and the morals. Kant is completely right. Like the intentions are amazing, and when I'm doing the right thing combined with good intention, being morally aware of both choices, just go, okay, cool. There are choices here. I could do the wrong thing, but that's what makes it better to do the right thing. And you don't always have to be like tempted by it, but it's like, it's good to be aware. They're like, oh yeah, I am choosing to do the right thing, even for a split second, because it helps strengthen it. And then the intention can come in. And then when you combine like intention with the knowledge of the moral choice that you're making, with bringing all of your other human faculties to bear, like your imagination, your brain, your high level thinking, connection to the higher realms, all the way to the source, boom, then now we're playing with fire. Like now we're manifesting, now we're creating, now we're engaged in life. Now we're really feeling it, and we're feeling good about it, and we're feeling aware about it, and we're feeling conscious, and we're not feeling naive. We're feeling whole about it. We know light and dark, and there's options, but we're just like, look, we made a choice for like do this good thing, to do good, and to be in the good flow, and then it just feels good, and it feels good in a whole way, not a naive way. So going through that and respecting that, it sends off a wave for me in my life to know that I'm interacting with other people and respecting the fact that it's moral interactions for them and me. And that makes me feel universal, and that shows me universality, because then when I approach people from that perspective, they approach me from that perspective more often than not. And that provides a really good, respectful level of interaction with other people. Personally, I think that's what, when you go through the ages, excuse me, when you go through the ages, when you look through history across cultures, it doesn't matter, up and down socioeconomic realms, cultures, peoples, times, eras, anything. Basically, their stratification happens usually based on people doing good things, like societies where they value, polite society, aside from the money aspects, usually ends up being because groups of people like to be in situations with other people where they know it's a moral interaction. And to me, that's what the good life is just, regardless of the material level of the life that's being lived, it's just you're living consciously, morally. And it doesn't mean piously. It just means like you know, way of right and wrong. You try to do the right thing more often than not, and you're living with other people who have that. And the particulars, they kind of don't matter, as long as the values that are generally in that realm stay on the side of like decency. And then all the other stuff is fine, because whatever, that's the spice of life. It's just everybody's living lives, and everybody got different origin stories and doing their thing. But if we all understand that we morally affect each other, and our interactions are all moral, and we can understand that universal behavior and respect for each other is the basis for an enjoyable reality, then things, I think that improves human quality of life more than anything else, really, because that's an internal responsibility, and it's one we all have, regardless of whether or not we're aware of it at the moment or not. We do. It's the way we're built, and it's what we have. And I think the more of us who can view it that way and understand it, it just make things better, pretty quick. So, yeah, morals too. Are they universal? Do we all have them? Yeah, I believe we do. There you go. So, as always, I encourage you, hey, make your own videos, think for yourself. That's the point of philosophy. Expand your brain with internal thinking on your own. So, thanks for stopping by Philosopher's Corner. I hope you have a good day.